What you're about to hear about the monster of Florence might actually send shivers down your spine. The crazy part? Although this harrowing Netflix crime drama may have chilled viewers across the world, the real story behind the scenes will leave you gasping for breath. In this video, you'll hear about the disturbing true story that inspired Netflix's Monster of Florence crime drama. But hey, before we get right into it, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel because there are many more interesting stories out there and you wouldn't want to miss any. The true story happened in 1968, a long time before Netflix was global enough to reach Italy. That year, a young couple were parked in their car on the outskirts of Florence. But what happened next was so unexpected that it made the whole town shudder in fear. Guess what? A few moments later, the authorities discovered something shocking. They found the couple coldly murdered, but that wasn't the only thing. The couple was murdered in such a way that they were almost unrecognizable. At first, police dismissed it as an isolated crime, but they were wrong. Horribly wrong. You know why? It is because what started as one murder soon spiraled into a nightmare. Years later, another couple turned up dead, then another, and another. Each scene more chilling than the last. As a result, fear spread like wildfire and no one felt safe. But soon after, something crazy happened. Investigators finally uncovered a hidden link between the victims. That was when it finally dawned on them they were dealing with something far darker than they could ever imagine. Now here's the wildest part. The murder victims were couples and always killed in parked cars at night. It was as if someone was creating a pattern with his victims. And the biggest question of all was, why? Theories began flooding in. Some believed it was the work of a lone psychopath with a sexual obsession because the victims were all lovers. Others whispered that some kind of satanic cult was behind it, that the killings were ritual sacrifices tied to dark magic. There were yet other theories, but that's not even the craziest part. The deeper the investigators dug for answers, the wilder the rumors grew. And it got worse, because even the detectives began turning on each other. At one point, suspicion ran so deep that the police themselves became suspects. What started as a murder investigation was now very messy. And things got darker with each arrest. One of the earliest suspects was a farmer named Pietro Pacciani. He was a gruff and intimidating man who fit the picture of a rural monster. Eventually, he was tried in the 1990s, convicted, and then acquitted on appeal. But when he was supposed to go on another trial, something unexplainable happened. He died suddenly just before he was to appear in court. Some say his death came from natural causes. Others believe he was killed because he knew too much. And while his death might have closed one chapter, it opened another, because soon after, two of his friends, known as the companions of Pacciani, were also arrested. But there were several problems with their trial. The evidence was flimsy, their confessions were confusing, and the verdicts were inconsistent. It was as if the monster behind the killings was playing a cruel game of hide and seek, leaving even more victims in his wake than the ones he murdered. By the early 1980s, fear had paralyzed the beautiful Tuscan countryside to the point that people stopped going out at night. Parents even warned their children not to fall in love in the open. Consequently, the press gave the killer a name, Il Mostro di Firenze, the Monster of Florence. The crimes went on for nearly 2 decades, and the victims followed the same pattern. It was horrifying, 16 murders in 17 years. But what makes this story truly terrifying isn't just the brutality of the murders, it's how the killer kept slipping through the cracks and vanishing every single time. The worst part? He kept playing silly games. After some of the murders, he sent anonymous notes to prosecutors and journalists, taunting them. It was almost as if the killer was right there, watching the investigation unfold. And do you know what made it more chilling? The handwriting matched someone in the police's inner circle. However, that clue led to a dead end because these personal letters only increased the distrust that the police already felt. Even now, the Netflix series paints the monster as a shadowy figure. Nevertheless, many Florentines believe that whoever committed those crimes was not an outsider, but one of them. It was someone who had a deep knowledge of the countryside and could disappear among familiar faces. At one point, something happened to crack this case. American crime writer Douglas Preston and Italian journalist Mario Spezzi decided to investigate the case themselves. What they uncovered was so disturbing that Preston fled Italy in fear, and Spezzi was actually arrested just for digging too deep. Together, they co-authored The Monster of Florence, one of the most chilling true crime books ever written. It became a story so haunting that it later inspired Netflix's crime drama adaptation. How about the killings? Well, just as abruptly as it began, the killing spree stopped. The final known murders were in 1985. And after that, silence. However, some people believe the nightmare is far from truly over. Because here's the part that still sends chills down the spine of investigators. Despite decades of arrests, trials, and endless theories, the authorities never discovered the monster. The DNA evidence collected at each crime scene was either missing or contaminated. All the possible witnesses contradicted themselves. And the supposed murder weapon, a .22 caliber Beretta, was never found. What do you think? Do you believe the actual killer died quietly, taking his secrets with him? Or did the monster live on, is now hiding as an ordinary person? Drop your own theories in the comments section. And if you want more chilling truths behind crime cases, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications, because the next case we're uncovering might make you question everything you thought you knew about human nature.